Okay, we're live. Hi everyone, Dion Johnson here, the Womanologist. And I have decided to go live to create a 5-day mini-series in lieu of my book launch happening next Tuesday, the 24th of November. Now, those of you that know me, and even those of you that don't, let me introduce myself. My name's Dion, I'm the Womanologist, and my work is really all about supporting women in senior leadership, women who are CEOs, directors and heads, women who are strategic leads in their organization, to be more influential in their role. I'm particularly interested in supporting women with a humanitarian heart, so women who care about the state of our world and the people in it and want to use their work for good, work for change, work to challenge really hard things like inequality and injustice that's born out of marketplace activity. So if that's you, I really welcome you to today's live stream. I'm going to be going live every day this week, around this time, around the 2:00 mark, London time, every day this week. And really, I'm just so excited to share. And what prompted today's video, this series is called Prepare to be Powerful, because I believe that we as women really do need to be powerful influencers at such a time as this, as we come out of, as we embrace the aftermath of COVID-19, the pandemic, and we think about what kind of world we want to live in and what kind of organization we want to lead and what kind of impact we want our leadership to have. I really believe that that's going to take some preparation, that it's going to take some thinking through, it's going to take some getting ready. And so that's what this series is really about. And yesterday, I had an interview with the lovely Denise Roberts, who's just launching her new podcast and YouTube series called Off the Page, where she speaks to authors who write books and, delves into the ideas behind the stories in the book. And she asked me a really powerful question. She said, Dion, you decided that you were going to take your mask off and you were going to show up for real. What was the process? Now, if you're watching me for the first time, we'll get to the masking stories, but just suffice to say that I was born with a facial disfigurement, and really early on in my life, I started to have corrective facial surgery. And then when I was 4 years old, I was gifted with an artificial eye and dark glasses. And what these did really they were masks. They were to help me mask my facial flaws. And later on, fast forward to my mid-40s, I realized that it was time for me to let people see the real me, to take those masks off my face and learn how to show up for real. And that's been a really powerful metaphor for the work that I do with women now. Not necessarily women with facial disfigurements, because most of my clients are just beautiful, very smart, brilliant women, but women who know that they're not really showing up in their full power, women who know that they're not really showing up for real, not really showing up in their true strengths as leaders and change makers. And this is I'm really passionate about this work. So what I'm going to do this week is share with you some of the things that I shared with Denise yesterday as she was interviewing me about the process and the milestones that I hit as I journeyed on my preparation journey to show up for real. Okay, so that's a bit of a backstory. And I want to jump right in today with the milestone number 1. And the milestone number 1 is hearing the call. Hearing the call. Now, there's a long story that goes into how I got to the place where I decided that I was going to take those artificial eye and the dark glasses off so that you could see this face, right? And you will hear that story if you hang around me any length of time at all. But just suffice to say that life in 2009 was really, really challenging. That I hit a real crossroads in my life and my leadership, and things felt really heavy, and I really hit a rock bottom. And what happened at that time was that I found myself on my knees with my hands up in the air like this, saying, oh God, what's going on with me? And then we had this real, me and God, we had this real heart-to-heart conversation, and I received my call to come up higher as an influencer, to accelerate and advance my leadership and the impact that I'm having in my work. I realized in that conversation that I was being asked to be more influential, to show up as a woman of influence. And I really didn't know back then how to do that. I really didn't know back then what that would involve or what it would mean. And really, the conversation that I was having then was all about you seeing me. And I learned very powerfully back then and since then, just how important it is to show up for real if you want to be more influential. So the very first milestone that I really want to talk to you about today is hearing the call for yourself. Now, I've explained that my call was a divine one, was part of my relationship with God. It was part of my walk with God. But your call might just be an inner nudging, your intuition or your higher self saying to you, look, it's time for you to do more, to be more, to create more impact, that your leadership needs to go up a level. You might just have this knowing on the inside of you. That's the call. Or it might be that you are you're seeing something happening in your organization, and you know that it's not right, and you know that it needs to be fixed, and it's bugging you, or it's frustrating you, or it's making you angry, or it's calling to you somehow. That's the call. Or it might be that you're looking at your customers and your clients, and you notice that there's groups of your customers and clients that are not being served well, that your service isn't meeting their needs very well, or that they're being marginalized in some way through your systems or your operations and your policies and your procedures. If you're seeing this, if you're knowing this, if this is tugging at you, if this is catching your attention, guess what? That's the call. That's the call. And the very first milestone that you will have to acknowledge, you'll have to reach this milestone if you want to really begin to accelerate your influences, that you have to be called. You have to hear the call. You have to be summoned. You have to be roused. You have to be captivated. You have to be, the doors of your understanding need to be knocked on and say, you need to be beckoned. You need to be beckoned up higher. You need to be called to this mission to have more impact, to make more difference. So what I thought I would do today is just share with you my ideas of how you can begin to hear the call for yourself. Okay, and the first one is to listen. We're so busy. We're so hectic. Our minds are so full. Apparently, we have 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day, and most of them are repetitive, that we're just repeating the same thoughts, and it's noisy in there. In my privileged position to be able to support some women in senior leadership, these CEOs and these director and brilliant women that I serve, when we sit down and we get to hear what's going on in there, it's really noisy. There's a lot going on. And so oftentimes that noise and that cacophony can really block our perception of our being called up higher. So I'm encouraging you to listen. Slow it down a minute. Give yourself some time to really hear. Maybe ask yourself some difficult questions, and then just sit with those questions until the answers begin to come to you. A great question to start with is, what are these very unusual, traumatic, chaotic times meaning? What are the signs of the times pointing to? What is there for me to understand about this season that we find ourselves leading in? What's going on really in my home, in my region, in my organization, in my industry? What's really going on here? And then just listen. Maybe if you give yourself this time, you will hear the call to come up higher. And my second tip is to let your heart be troubled. Let your heart be stirred. Let your heart be inspired. Let your heart be open and informed by people who are already experiencing the call. And that's where I come in, because I really want to share with you some of what I'm learning about answering the call. And I don't know if you know or not, but my book is launching. It's called Influential Woman, and it's launching on the 24th of November, which is next week. So if you want to come and join us and hang out with some people who are feeling the call to step up their influence, step up their impact in leadership, then you'll be in good company. And that's a really great way for you to begin to be inspired and stirred and open to hearing the call on your life and your leadership too. I hope you'll join us. The link for the book launch is in the chat box here. I'll put it in afterwards, and I will hope you join us. But even if you don't join us, I'm encouraging you that if you want to be more influential in your role, if you want to lead important, meaningful change, I encourage you that it's time to, first of all, hear the call. It's a powerful milestone. We all have to receive the call. And the way to do that is to listen and to open your heart. Let your heart be inspired by those who are around you that could inspire you to be more influential. I'm hoping that you hear my heart. Let me know what you think in the chat, and I'll see you tomorrow around this time with milestone number 2. Take care. Hey, that's good. That's